na kiria kiagire gukumakia we wita mundu muiru ni kumaka ati murimu witagwo HIV does not exist.
Actually, what should shock everyone is the fact that you're here claiming that HIV does not exist, whereas I went to school. Some of the things that I studied are viruses. I have interacted with patients who are sick from viral infections, one being HIV. I actually went further in my career to branch into genomics, and I can do next generation sequencing for so many viruses, including HIV. So I know it's there. For you, you might be speaking from a point of privilege where you don't have that HIV, so you don't know the experience and you're not willing to learn from observation. So for you, unless you just go and get HIV, that's the only point where this conversation can be easier between us.
As a matter of fact, virus under a microscope.
It's like saying that sperms do not exist because you cannot see them using your naked eyes, of which you cannot be able to see them because the resolving power of our eyes are not strong enough. So in that case, you require something a bit more powerful, like a microscope. You take a microscope, you can be able to see cells, including the sperms. You can be able to see bacteria, but not viruses. Now, viruses, the size is so tiny to a point where now the limiting factor will be the wavelength. The wavelength of the light cannot be, it's too wide to even resolve between the viral particles. So in that case, now you look for something a little bit more powerful than the light microscope, and that's where we have electron microscope. An electron microscope is so powerful, it can offer magnifications of even up to times a million, meaning that you can even see atoms. So you can easily see a virus under a microscope, and we've seen so many. We even have electron microscopes in Kenya, so you can just plan your day and just go and tell them to show you HIV.
No, durani gyo gukumakia ni ati hari virus igire thiini wa thi, virus ya HIV na virus ya COVID na cieri need patent.
That's another thing which is a huge myth. You cannot patent something which is naturally occurring. You cannot patent a bacteria, a fungi, a virus, as long as we can find them in nature. However, you can patent something that you got from them. Can be, let's say, for example, a vaccine. That's a product of interacting with them. Can be a vaccine. Can be, let's say, tomorrow you wake up, you come up with a HIV vaccine, or maybe a cure. You can patent that vaccine or that cure, but you cannot patent HIV itself. Now, the vaccine and the cure, those are your own creations, so you can be able to patent that. You have authority over them. Here's another thing that confuses so many people. We have several ways of creating vaccines. You can pick that pathogen and cut it into pieces and inject that into someone, and they get protected against that particular pathogen. Another way is you pick that pathogen and then you weaken it, what we call attenuation. And the weakened version of that virus can be a fungi, can be a bacteria, can be injected into a human being to give the same results. And we have so many vaccines that are actually made this way. So the new weakened version is a new creation. You created that and you have control over that. So you can patent that, but you cannot patent the actual virus. You cannot be able to do that. So that's another thing. So you can patent the attenuated version, but you cannot patent the actual virus or the bacteria or the fungi.
When a woman sleeps with a man and she absorbs those hormones, they actually are imprinted in her DNA. Any man.
Gene imprinting usually happen way before that, or way after that. So before that, gene imprinting will happen during gametogenesis. We have oogenesis and spermatogenesis. So that's where that is happening. And this is to prevent conflict. Like, for example, you have two genes, they are doing the same thing. One of them is usually silenced or turned off to prevent conflict. After that, another imprinting will happen after fertilization, because you have two sets of genomic DNAs that are merging, and the genes inside them need to be given their role. Some of them are not even ready yet. Like, for example, production of sperms in boys need to be there to be on after puberty. So imprinting is highly controlled and not as available as he's trying to make it seem. Going back to the hormones, now semen will come with some hormones, and the main role for those hormones is to make sure that the sperms are surviving. Like, for example, you have prostaglandins that will make sure that the host immune system does not attack the sperms, because sperms will come with new sets of proteins that will be foreign to the immune system of the mother or to the lady, so they might be killed by that immune system. So to prevent that, we have hormones that will make sure that that does not happen. Otherwise, after deposition of the sperms, they're usually cleared off 7 days max. So even if you have unprotected sex with, let's say, 1,000 people, none of their sperms genomic DNA will be integrated into yours. None of them. And this is where another thing comes in. After you get pregnant, we have things that we call microchimeric cells that we have featured in the past. And if you want me to dig deeper into this, I can. But then for today, let's just listen a little bit more.
So if a woman has had sex with 10 men in her lifetime, in her genetic map, we have the DNA of all those 20 men.
That's not true. Your genomic DNA is not altered by anything out there. After fertilization, the genomic DNA you do get, you live with that until you die. And I'm highly suspecting it's trying to refer to telegony, which is another pseudoscience, similar to what I see people saying that, hey, you should feed based on your blood group. For the sake of the argument, let's assume that that's true. You can acquire another person's gene through sexual intercourse, and this can integrate into your DNA. Now, one function of the DNA is to, make proteins in the body. Can be your color tone, can be your hair, can be your muscle. So many things are done through the DNA, creating a messenger RNA that will go to the cytoplasm where the ribosome is and telling it, hey, create this type of protein. And that protein is what is going to make another thing. Like it can be enzymes, so many things, yeah? Now, let's assume that there's a new segment which also imported into your DNA. And this new set of gene is producing new proteins because it's new, definitely. Now, there is something that your body does which is quite incredible. Your immune system knows all the proteins you have, apart from the immune privileged sites, like, for example, your brains, your testes, and which other parts? The eyes. So they really don't know the proteins that are inside there, but any other part of the body, they know exactly what's going on. So you introduce a new protein in the body or into the body, then the immune system will be very mad and you're going to have a reaction that will happen in your body, and that's how autoimmune condition will happen, like arthritis, we have lupus, and so many other conditions that are autoimmune. So this means that your body will continue fighting whatever you're producing, and this will create a very bad environment for you. It can easily kill you because we have inflammation, and this can lead to organ failure. So again, imprinting is highly controlled, so you don't get that.
And they can actually be identified scientifically. So if you have money, you can catch a cheating partner through a DNA test. Yeah. They become part of her.
What I'm trying to think is confusing between microchimerism and telegony. Telegony is a pseudoscience. We are not going to talk about that because it's actually, we will just waste our time with that. Maybe microchimerism. We have fetal cells that can migrate from the fetus into the mother through the placenta, and the cells can persist there. They have been tracked into the mother, and the one which is easier to track is the cells coming from a pregnancy of a boy. Boy pregnancy. Or pregnancy where you're carrying a boy, because it's very easy to detect a Y chromosome in the mother. And like if it was the reverse, you have a girl in your pregnancy, you have a pregnancy of a girl. Let's say you're pregnant with a girl, so the cells, even if they cross, it's very hard for you to differentiate them because even the mother will have X chromosome. So Y chromosome is easier. We've been able to pick that, and even so, this is not what he's describing here. He's describing telegony.
It's actually possible, in fact, for you to have a child with a woman and she does not look like you. She resembles a former sexual partner because he's...
And now he's jumping to epigenetics, which is an overreaching as far as this topic is concerned. I think we should discuss a little bit more about epigenetics because it's quite interesting. You can be diabetic and you can increase chances of your children being diabetic too. Or maybe you are an alcoholic and you can increase chances of your children being alcoholic too. It's a very interesting topic. I think we should discuss that a little bit further. But this one, he's jumping now.
His genetics, his genes are embedded in her DNA. When the kid is tested...
No, your genes will not embed into another person's DNA. And we have several instances where that can happen, by the way. In case of disappearing twin syndrome, where one of the twin can absorb the genetic material from the other. We've talked about chimera. We've talked about microchimeras. And we have other instances of introducing cells into the body, like for example, through blood transfusion, we have organ transplant, we have those, but then whatever he's talking about here, the sperms are usually cleared, the DNA of the sperms is usually cleared from the body within 7 days. And your body is very strict and very stringent when it comes to taking care of nucleic acids from the body. They're usually cleared off. And that's why you don't have your father's mitochondrial DNA, you have your mother's.
It is you, but it doesn't look like you. He takes after, because he takes after which are hiding in her, whatever.
No, there's nothing hiding that will make you resemble any other person. But I don't know. If you want me to discuss a bit more into, or we dive more into epigenetics, I can do that. It's a very interesting topic, by the way.
So what happens is, this is true. So when you are sleeping with a woman, or when you marry a woman who has had multiple other partners, anytime you bed together, those men are also present in that bed.
I mean, it's a nice way of discouraging women from having multiple sexual partners, which in turn will reduce STIs that are out there and ravaging people out there. By the way, we have gonorrhea, which is quite bad, terrible. Reduce your sexual partners.
Kama kuna mtoto mdogo, wacha kupea mtoto hizi chakula packed. Hizi chakula ziko ready. Unaona hizi maziwa mnanunua na mkebe? Hizi za watoto. Acha nini na hizo maziwa? Hata kama utanyonyesha mtoto, wacha hizi maziwa hizi za, mnajua zile maziwa ninasemea. Hizo chakula zile ready. Unajua zile packed, achaneni na hizo chakula. Na hizi vitu mnadunga watoto. Imagine wachaneni.
If I got her correctly, she's against formula milk and vaccination. And let's talk about them. Let's start with the formula milk. Yes, we all agree that breast milk is the best source of nutrition and protection for your baby. So you should try everything possible to breastfeed your baby, at least exclusively for the first 6 months. And then you introduce other healthier choices thereafter. However, there are instances where alternatives like a formula milk becomes a lifeline for your baby. An example is, not every mother after giving birth they get milk there and there, like on the spot after giving birth. Some usually take a while. I've seen some taking 3 days, others 4, some even 7 days. During this time before the mother produces milk, I would highly prefer the baby being put under formula instead of a drip. Also, we have mothers that usually don't produce enough milk. Can be genetical, can be some other conditions here and there, so they are not able to produce enough milk for the demand. Like for example, it can be that you have 2 babies, like you have twins, or maybe you have triplets, or you have 4 of them. So the demand is so high and the supply is not really enough. We even have instances where a mother dies leaving behind a newborn. Other instances are where the mother doesn't have breast. Maybe she lost them through maybe a medical procedure, could have been she had breast cancer, or maybe a tumor, or she's too sick to even produce milk, or the milk would be potentially risky to the baby. In that case, formula milk will come in handy. We even have mothers that abandon their newborns. And shout out to Mama Lucy. There is a word that usually take care of those abandoned children and newborns and infants, and they are doing a great job. I was there last year. I was trying to follow up on something, and there is this nurse, I don't remember her name, and a gentleman. They know those kids by their names, and I was so impressed. And thank you. I wish there is a way we can be able to support such. We can go to as far as surrogacy. My point is there are genuine use cases for formula, and some people will say, hey, goat milk or maybe cow milk, yes, they are good alternatives too, but formula is way superior because it's specifically made for this, and you have to prepare it the right way. First of all, you have to use very clean water, boil it. After boiling, cool it down, and then you reconstitute your formula with it. The only downside is it's quite expensive. Sometimes it's not sustainable, and I wish it's cheaper. And let's go to vaccines. If there is one thing I want you to know is never compromise on vaccination for your baby, especially the KP vaccines, because keeping vaccines comes with consequences. Like for example, in 2003-2004 in Nigeria, some religious leaders and political leaders claimed that the West was plotting to sterilize Muslims and spread HIV through this polio vaccine. The consequences, the polio that came from Nigeria spread like bushfire to a point of being detected in as far as Indonesia. Another example, in around 2018-2019 in Samoa, a nurse made an error when reconstituting a measles vaccine. Instead of using water for injection, she used an expired muscle relaxant. And as a result, 2 infants died, and this led to mistrust in vaccines and an 8-month suspension of immunization programs. The consequences, in late 2019, they had a measles epidemic. And we have so many other examples. If you're like me who prefer learning through observation, not through experience, you can check the following. We have Japan HPV vaccine suspension, which happened between 2013 and 2022, and correlate that with what's happening in Japan right now. We have whooping cough scares that happened in Japan. We have UK, we have Sweden in the 80s. Okay, it's a little bit back then, but then the same concept. We have measles outbreak in Philippines between 2017 and 2019, and look at the measles resurgence in the US right now, like from 2024 to right now. Coming back home, I want you to observe what will happen due to the current shortage of the rotavirus vaccines if nothing is done about that situation. And I want you to pay close attention to diarrhea cases in under 5s and associated deaths. Long story short, listen to your pediatrician for your baby, listen to your gyna for your own health, and listen to your doctor in general, because there is something very important in medicine that we call nuance.